What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Sonny here, coming at you guys with another Neverwinter video. And by the title and thumbnail, you already know why you clicked on, but we are finally going to be doing the tier list for the armor enchantments. Now, this video did take a hot minute to upload to the channel. My computer decided to be stupid and delete all my files, so I had to remake it, and I just haven't had time to remake it. But today, on Friday, April the 3rd, we're going to jump straight back into it. Now, I'm going to try to keep this one a little bit shorter than the weapon enchantment. So I'm not going to go in-depth with all the enchantments. I'm just going to kind of give you guys my broad range. And yeah, this is my opinion, obviously. Feel free to make your own if you really want to. But yeah, without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. And first one on the list, we have the Clad enchantment. Of course, all of these are ranked 14 at the max. So yeah. When receiving damage, each hit adds an 18% to your deflection rating and a 4% increase to your damage resistance for 8 seconds. This effect can stack a maximum of 8 times and expires when you successfully deflect. Okay, now, as far as I know, Clad is best in slot for PvP, okay? So in terms of PvP, I would definitely put it at endgame. But in terms of PvE, I wouldn't put it at endgame. I'm going to stick it in the middle tier. Okay, so just so you guys can make that discrepancy, end game for PvP, middle tier in my opinion for PvE. I think there are better end game enchantments that you can run, even for particular classes. When we get into it, I feel there's better at end game that I would put above it, and we're going to talk about that right now, which is the Elven Battle. I feel this is one of those no-brainer enchantments. It's beneficial for all classes, whether it be clerics, DPS, or tanks. 85% more resistant to slows, immobilizes, disables, and 40% increase to your stamina regen. Stamina regen is great for every class, whether you're gliding on the cleric, whether you're putting up your shield on the tank, and whether you're running or rolling or teleporting on any DPS class. Getting your stamina back quicker means you're going to get to the mobs, therefore quicker. Okay? Moving on to Blood Theft. I am going to put this one at the low end. This is another one where I wouldn't buy this at rank 14 because you're going to probably have a hard time selling it. But if you need like a middle, not even a middle, but a low end armor enchantment that's cheap, I'd only buy this at rank 8 or 9 max. But it's just a nice little crutch. My apologies. You have a 10% chance to deal damage to heal yourself for 50% of that damage dealt. This can only occur once every 3 seconds. So it's just kind of like a nice little bonus of healing. Nothing too crazy. Like I said, these are this enchantment is a little bit harder to sell at rank 14, just due to the fact is that I wouldn't put it at middle tier or end game. I'd buy it at the low end. Don't upgrade it too much. Because like I said, it's all about profit. It's all about making money. And if you can't sell this enchantment and you're stuck with it, by all means, maybe you might want to swap it out for a different loadout or something. But if you're looking to be end game, this is not the enchantment for you. Moving on to the Bark Shield. This is another end game. Now, there is a lot in this tooltip. I'm just going to kind of break it down in my head. Pretty much, it's like a free, it's a free one-shot. Depending on the boss, typically if you were about to get hit and one-shotted, this will save your life, okay? Now, I personally have never ran with the Bark Shield, so I cannot say for sure that's exactly how it works, but from what people have told me, this is more beneficial on a DPS or a cleric, or even a paladin healer. This is where it's the bread and butter. It's pretty much like a free lifesaver. Say the boss is swinging, and you just be caught in the middle of it. Well, instead of going down, you might, you're going to definitely take in one of those Bark Shield stacks, okay? So definitely an end game enchantment. These go for millions on the auction house, and there's a reason. It's sought after. It's really good. You should definitely have it. Maybe not so much for tanks. I feel tanks, there's a better opportunity out there. So for tanks, maybe not the best for end game, but for any kind of healer, DPS class, definitely worth your money. Negation. Now, I like negation. I like the way it looks. I like what it does. I've used negation in the past on my cleric, on my tank. Now, it doesn't work too heavily on the cleric because you don't want to be taking damage like that. But on a DPS class and a tank, I would say where it shines. Like I said, I wouldn't put it end game because, you know, that's just a tier and a whole nother. I wouldn't say negation is end game, but I definitely would say it's middle tier. And pretty much it just gives you damage resistance stacks. Right here, increases your damage resistance for 3 seconds. This can stack to a maximum of 10 times and refreshes its duration each new stack. Upon reaching 10 stacks of damage resistance, after a 3-second delay, all stacks of damage resistance are consumed, and your health is 5% of your maximum hit points. So they get that nice little heal. 5% of your maximum hit points isn't a lot. You probably won't even notice that heal. Truthfully, the boss will eat through that real quick, or even mobs will eat through that 5% real quick. But, you know, taking damage. This is one where you're taking damage. So even as a DPS, if you're getting to the groups first and you're taking a lot of damage, well, this is going to build up your damage resistance, okay? So it's just also maybe more depending on your play style. If you stay with the group, you let the tank go first, obviously negation is going to be less effective for you. But if you're one who likes to get up in the, you know, you almost want to tank your own tanky route, you know, especially in dungeons like LAM and stuff like that, where a tank isn't necessarily needed as long as you have a good healer. Moving on, Thunderhead, okay? This is a one, this is one I'm going to put in don't buy. Just another due to the fact is you're not going to be able to sell it at higher ranks, even maybe at lower ranks. These probably are swamped on the market for cheap. I can't imagine people out there buying Thunderheads too often. But in paper, it sounds decent. When you hit a foe, you have a 10% chance to deal magnitude of 150 weapon damage as lightning damage to that foe, as well as other foes within a 20 asterisk of you. This effect can happen no more than once every 10 seconds. So not only is there a 10-second delay on it, there's only a 10% chance that it's going to happen. If they bump that up, this would be perfect for mobs. So you can run, this would be like a mob killer. You have the Thunderhead with the lightning, and you would just be wrecking shit. You would be seeing lightning chaining like everywhere. It would be crazy. Maybe that's why it's not as high up in the world of Neverwinter, because it would just be OP. But who knows? Maybe Neverwinter one mod might say, wow, the Thunderhead has been neglected for long enough. Let's put it back up there with the top tier enchantments. Soulforge. I am a big fan of Soulforge, but I'm going to put it at low end, okay? And you might be thinking, well, Sonny, you just said you're a big fan of Soulforge. I am, but you don't need it at rank 14. You don't even need it at rank 12 or 13 for its effect to be useful. Literally, it's a pretty much scroll of mass life. You fall, you get back up. Now, the only problem is you're not immune, okay? You're not immune to anything. You can still very well get res and die if you're not quick enough with your scrolls, your stones of health, or the healer doesn't pick you up immediately. So that's the only finicky thing about the Soulforge. You can get picked back up and die right back again and still have to use a scroll. So that's why I'm going to put it at the low end. I wouldn't say it's end game because there are better ones out there, and I wouldn't put it at the middle tier just due to the fact is it's not something that I would rank up and try to sell. You don't need it to be a rank 14 compared to a rank 9 to be as effective. Of course, rank 14, the delay or the timer before you can use it again is minimalized, but the amount of AD isn't worth it in my opinion. Eclipse. This is another no-brainer in my opinion. This is end game, okay? This could be used again on pretty much any class besides maybe the Paladin healer, just because the Paladin healers don't have a run or a dodge or a slip or anything like that. They kind of just put up their shields, and I would feel you'd be more beneficial with another armor enchantment if you were a Paladin healer than this one. But for DPS, for clerics who are looking to speedrun dungeons or are looking to get the mobs first, this is your bread and butter, okay? I used to rock the Eclipse frequently in LAM, okay? Just because, I'll just read it to you real quick. Increases your deflection rating by 3,000. Now, this is a permanent 3,000 stat. So this is not actually that bad on a tank neither. Whenever your stamina drops below 20%, your stamina is refilled and can no longer be depleted for 3 seconds. Sorry. Okay. So it's pretty much like a free run full speed ahead, get your stamina back off, run full speed ahead, and get like a 3 seconds where you can just run or just teleport. So you might be able to get one more slip or one more dodge out of that 3 second immunity before it depletes again. And by then, you should, depending on where you're at in the dungeon, you'll be at the next group of mobs if you run through 2 bars of stamina. And it refreshes after 60 seconds at rank 14. This is one of them that I would get to rank 14. Like I said, if you're looking to do speed runs, even if you're a tank, having the ability to have your shield back up after it depletes again is pretty clutch. It's almost like a free encounter on a tank, and it's a free stamina refill on any other class. So it's pretty nice. Moving on to the Frostburn, I personally don't buy it. I don't see anybody walking around with a Frostburn enchantment. There's a reason. On receiving damage, you have a 10.5% chance to apply a 30% slow and minus 3,000 critical strike to the target. This effect lasts 5 seconds and can only occur once every 5 seconds. Okay? Pretty much in short, it's trash, in my opinion. Don't buy it. I wouldn't even buy a rank 8 or 9. There are better low-end. I'd buy a Soulforge 10 out of 10 times before I buy a Frostburn. I'm buying a Blood Theft 10 out of 10 times before I'm buying a Frostburn. I don't see the purpose. I don't see the need for this enchantment. I just think it's one of those things where I don't know why it's in the game. It definitely needs to be updated to even be considered usable in the game at the way it stands right now. Moving on, Briar Torrent. Now, this is an enchantment that maybe some people don't really know about, and there's a reason, because you don't want to buy it. Now, on paper, it sounds pretty good. When you reflect 5% of the damage dealt back to your attacker, you have a 9% chance when struck to root your attacker for 2 seconds. This can only occur once every 10 seconds, okay? So you reflect 5% of the damage dealt to you back to your attacker and have a 9% chance when struck to root the attacker for 2 seconds. This can only occur once every 10 seconds, okay? Now, you might be thinking, well, Sonny, this sounds brilliant for a tank, right? Reflecting 5% of that damage back to the attacker. Yeah, it sounds like that, but believe me, it doesn't work as it's intended. My uncle Nipsey, for those of you who watch my live streams, or maybe you might know him from just the videos, he had it, rank 14 max rank. He couldn't sell it, and it was shitty in dungeons. The amount of margin was minimal on his tank, on a DPS. It's not worth running. There are better armor enchantments out there for your bang for your buck. You don't even see too many of these on the market, and there's a reason. They're not really sought after. They're not something, you might see them on the auction house going for maybe like an absurd amount of 6 million, but they're not selling. You might be like, oh, well, I'll make one and sell it for 5 or 4, and it still won't sell, okay? So don't waste your money on it. Maybe somebody out there thinks they live by it, but in terms of my testing, in my opinion, it's not where it needs to be. Fireburst. Okay, this is another one that is kind of finicky. I'm not sure if I want to put this in a low end or don't buy tier again, because this is one of like another lightning. Fireburst. I'm gonna put it at don't buy, and I'll tell you real quick why. I'm putting a lot of armor enchantments in don't buy. And the only reason, too, is because I don't want you guys thinking that you can buy these, upgrade them, and then try to sell them to get either the middle tier or the end game or even the low-end Spectrum ones. Maybe you want a Blood Theft just for soloing content, right? That's why I put it at low end, because it's not a necessity, but you could very well have it. But with the Fireburst, when you receive damage, release a fireball at your attacker and up to 5 others within 15, that little asterisk for a magnitude of 100 weapon damage as fire damage. This effect can only occur every 15 seconds, okay? So not only is there a time limit, okay, of 15 seconds, which is quite a long time, believe it or not, especially when you're in the middle of a battle. You're going to be like, well, shit, has it been 15 seconds yet? And in my opinion, the damage you're going to receive from it is going to be minimal. you're not going to be able to make your money back. You're not going to be able to sell these quick or even cheaply to buy another armor enchantment that you might are sought after. That's why I'm just going to put it at the don't buy. You know, maybe somebody out there uses it and they love it, but just in my opinion, there's better ones out there. And believe it or not, I didn't know we were done, but that is it. I'm not sure what happened down here. I think it's because I already made one and then I made another one. But yeah, this is pretty much my list, guys. Hopefully I made this one shorter than a weapon enchantment. But yeah, endgame, obviously I would say Elven, Bar Shield, and Eclipse are no-brainers. Middle tier, like I said, the Shadow Clad is a PvP endgame enchantment for what I'm told. Negation, another middle tier. Soul Forge, I got low end just because you don't need it at rank 14 to do the job it needs to do. Another one is Blood Theft, and that's just because of the solo ability of this one. You know, maybe the heal isn't as effective as you would like it to be, but still, getting a nice heal, especially with mod 18, you know, things just hit a little bit harder. So having this on, you know, if you don't have these endgame enchantments or anything like that, is a nice little substitute in my opinion. But anyway, it has been your boy Sonny here, and like I said, I do apologize for the delay on this video, but hopefully the wait was worth it. And yeah, I will check you guys out in the next one.